In this video, we will cover the surface finishes setup in SDS2 2023. At the very top of the window, you'll have the ability to set your default surface finish for the model for the member and materials. Like other options in your member and material edit windows, if I were to add a beam and change that finish to something different other than the default, the next added beam will utilize whatever was specified as the last finish. If you want to go back to the default finish, you'd have to manually pull that down within the modeling instance. In the bill of material format, you have the ability to define how you want the information called out in your bill of material if that finish is to be called out in the bill of material at all. So with this, you have the ability to call out the finish information on all material lines only. You can add it to all lines for the member material, or you can call out the finish only on the member line or line 1 of the bill of material. Below this, you have the surface finish table. This is going to be where you go through and define everything that you need about the existing legacy attributes or finishes, or any new finishes that you want to create to incorporate inside this job. Starting off on the left is going to be a field for hiding. So especially with the legacy finishes, if there's finishes that you don't use or don't want to see in your member and material edit screens, you can hide them here. So right now I'm going to go through and hide a few of these. And once I get to the next video, I'll show you how these are no longer visible in the model. I'll check on that I never want to see the none and never want to see my undefined 1, 2, and 3. Up next, you can see the display name of any finish. You can see that we offer the default 12 finishes and have come across from older versions. That's due to how things were exposed in the Python API. If there's existing plugins, whether they're SDS2 distributed or possibly created on your own, those will key off the string name or display name utilized inside of that plugin. We had to make sure to keep those in there so that all existing plugins still work as anticipated for distributed and user created. Down below and underneath the 12th line, you can start defining any new finishes that you want for your display name. This display name is going to be what's used and visible in the member and material edit windows when you go to specify a new finish. I'm just going to put in painted here for my example. Next is going to be the abbreviation field. The abbreviation field is going to be basically what's going to be utilized in your bill of material, if that's going to be added to your bill of material, what's going to be shown on your exports. So like this example, maybe Tekla PowerFab, it's going to export the abbreviation. So since Tekla PowerFab is a separate software, they do anticipate and expect certain codes to be used to note whether something's painted or galvanized or anything like that. Given this modification of the abbreviation that's incorporated for these exports, you can now define the abbreviation to be exported with Tekla PowerFab and not have to do any modifying or mapping inside of the Tekla PowerFab software. So I'm going to put PNT since I know this is going to be my abbreviation for painted. The next column of data is going to be whether or not I want my finish to be galvanized. You can check that on or off as needed. You have a preparation process field. You can think of this as maybe for cleaning specs. Really, it can be anything that you want to denote here. You'll see some SP2s, SP6s that I added here for the cleaning specs. The preparation field as well with the source, we'll get into the source in a minute, but they're not going to be anything that's directly used inside of SDS2. It's just going to be for your own tracking and report information. I can create maybe different reports inside of Report Writer or a table report, which I'll get to in a separate video, that will incorporate on my detailer and gather sheets. That's just going to tell me the information about the cleaning specs or the sources that I've defined. Here I'm going to put in the SSPC-SP3 since I know that's my preparation process. In the source column, like I said, it's similar to the preparation process. I'm going to put in Tekla PowerFab here. Maybe I had two similar finishes with the same name, but they came from different sources. Here you have the ability to add to the bill of material. In previous versions of SDS2, you only had the ability to add the galvanizing finish information to the bill of material. In 2023, we have now exposed this so you can choose which surface finishes you want to add to the bill of material. Once again, if you're adding to that bill of material, it's going to use the abbreviation. You have the ability to break your major marks apart by finish. So if you have two like beams, let's say two B1s, and I have different finishes, the finishes are tagged to break apart the major marks, so they'll get a B1 and a B2 even though they're effectively identical, minus the finish. Just to note, if I were to come in here and create a new finish for, let's say, my galv, I'll just put galv for my abbreviation, and I check on the galvanizing, it'll automatically break my major marks apart. You can also break your submaterial marks apart by finish, so it's like the same thing. If I were to have two angles with two different finishes, they're just going to get two separate submaterial marks now. If I have break marks apart by submaterial, I can also put a suffix minor mark here, which I'll show in another video. So let's say I have BP1, I can have it have an underscore P1.